Clara never thought one message could bring back years she had carefully buried. It was a quiet Thursday evening in Portland. The rain had been falling since morning, steady and soft, tapping against the window like an old song she didn't want to remember. She was sitting at her small kitchen table, sipping tea, reading emails from work when her phone buzzed. The name on the screen made her heart stop. Ethan Dodd. It had been 5 years since she had last seen him. 5 years since that last unfinished conversation, that silence that turned into distance. And distance that turned into something harder forgetting. He had moved to New York, chasing success and ambition. She had stayed building a small, safe world where nothing unexpected ever happened. His message was short. I'm back in town. We need to talk. Come by my place tonight, upstairs. Clara stared at the words, her heart beating faster than it had in years. Why now? Why suddenly? And what did he mean by upstairs? There was no explanation, no hint of warmth or apologies, just that calm, direct tone she remembered too well. She closed her laptop and sat back thinking. She could ignore it, delete it, pretend it never came. But a part of her, the part that still remembered late-night talks, shared laughter, and that strange comfort only Ethan gave her wouldn't let her. She told herself it was only curiosity, nothing more. But deep down, she knew it was something else. Something that had never really gone away. By 8, she was standing in front of his old brownstone apartment. The street was quiet, washed clean by the rain. The lights inside were warm, spilling softly through the windows. She hesitated at the door, hand trembling slightly before she knocked. When the door opened, there he was, Ethan, older, sharper, but unmistakably the same. The moment their eyes met, all those lost years rushed back like a wave. His hair was grayer now, his face more serious. But his eyes still held that calm steadiness she used to trust. You came. He said quietly. I wasn't sure I would, she replied, managing a small smile. He stepped aside. You never liked unfinished stories. She entered slowly. The place looked different. The walls were filled with new paintings, abstract, darker, full of emotion. A soft instrumental tune played in the background. The air smelled faintly of cedarwood, the same scent he always wore. But the most noticeable thing was the small staircase leading up, lit by golden light. He noticed her gaze. I told you to come upstairs, he said gently. Her heart skipped. Why? What's upstairs? He smiled faintly, a mysterious curve of his lips. Something I should have shown you a long time ago. Actually, we should have. She frowned. Ethan didn't answer. He simply gestured toward the stairs. Go, you'll understand. Clara hesitated. There was a tension in the air, not dangerous, but emotional, like standing on the edge of a truth you're not ready for. She looked at him one last time before taking the first step. The wooden stairs creaked softly under her shoes. The sound of rain outside grew fainter as she climbed. When she reached the top, she stopped. 2 people were standing there, a man and a woman. The woman stood near the window, graceful, with silver hair tied back neatly. Her presence was calm, her smile kind but knowing. The man beside her, perhaps in his 60s, sat quietly in a chair, watching Clara with thoughtful eyes. For a moment, Clara didn't breathe. She turned, confused, toward Ethan, who had followed her up. Who are they? She asked softly. He looked at her with a gentle seriousness. Clara, meet my parents. Her voice trembled. Your parents, Ethan. They passed away years ago. That's what you knew, he said. But there's more to it. I need to explain. She stared at him, unsure if this was some cruel joke or a memory she had misunderstood. The 2 older strangers smiled kindly, as though they knew her. The woman spoke first. We've heard so much about you, Clara. Clara's confusion deepened. I don't understand what's happening. Ethan's tone softened. You will. Just listen. He guided her to a seat by the window. The room was dim but warm, filled with soft golden light and the quiet hum of rain outside. The atmosphere was almost dreamlike, a mix of calm and tension. comfort and unease. Ethan began to talk slowly, carefully. He told her that when he left for New York, he hadn't just been chasing success, he had been running. Running from his parents' disappointment, from his own guilt, from everything that felt too heavy to face. He spoke about how he had lost touch not only with her, but with himself. He had returned to Portland because his father had fallen seriously ill a few years ago. They had reconciled. And his parents had asked about her, the woman who changed their son's heart. "You were the one person I never stopped thinking about." Ethan said, his voice low. "I wrote you letters I never sent. I told them everything, how you were the calm in my storm. The reason I believed I could be more than what I was." Clara listened in silence. She could feel her chest tighten with emotions she didn't know how to name: sadness, nostalgia, something close to longing. "You should have told me," she whispered. He nodded slowly. "I know. But back then, I wasn't the man you needed me to be. I thought leaving was easier than admitting how much I cared." His father spoke then, his voice steady and wise. "Sometimes love isn't about holding on. It's about becoming worthy of what you lost." Ethan's mother smiled softly. "And sometimes it's about finding your way back, even after years." The words lingered in the air like warmth from a fading fire. Clara felt tears forming, but she blinked them away. She wanted to be angry, to ask why he waited 5 years to reach out. But when she looked at him, she saw the same sincerity she had fallen for, once only deeper now, more real. "So why now, Ethan?" she asked quietly. "Why bring me here to meet your parents, to dig up the past?" He took a slow breath. "Because I can't move forward until I face what I ran from. Until I tell you the truth." Her heartbeat quickened. What truth? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stood, walked to the old wooden shelf, and picked up a framed photo, one of him and Clara, taken years ago at a company picnic. She had forgotten that photo even existed. "You remember this?" he asked. She nodded faintly. "We were pretending to be happy." "I was," he said softly. "But I wasn't pretending." She froze. The simplicity of his confession hit harder than any apology could. Ethan's parents exchanged a quiet look. His mother placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's time," she said. He nodded. "Clara, there's more to this night than just old memories. Upstairs isn't just where I live, it's where everything started. It's where I learned what it means to lose something you can't replace." She frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" He looked at her with deep, unreadable eyes. "You'll see. But before that, you need to hear the truth about why I disappeared. About what I kept from you." The sound of rain grew stronger, almost rhythmic. The room seemed smaller, the air heavier. Clara wanted to say something, but words failed. She could only nod. Ethan sat down across from her, his hands clasped together. "After I left, I tried to forget you. I thought distance would fix everything. But it didn't. And when I finally found the courage to come back, it was already too late." "Too late for what?" she whispered. He looked at her with eyes full of regret. "For us. For what we could have been." Clara's breath caught. She looked away, unable to meet his gaze. The pain in his voice was real, too real. He continued, softer now. "But maybe, just maybe, it's not too late for honesty. Not too late to say what should have been said years ago." She looked back at him, her eyes glistening. "Then say it." He opened his mouth, but before he could speak, the lights flickered. A sudden gust of wind rattled the window. The room went still, silent except for the sound of their breathing. Ethan finally spoke. "Clara, I didn't just lose you. I lost something else that night. And it's time you knew what it was." Clara leaned forward, her heart pounding. "What did you lose?" He met her gaze, his expression both heavy and tender. "The truth," he said. "And the people upstairs are part of it." The clock on the wall ticked softly as thunder rolled in the distance. The rain kept falling, steady and unending, as though the city itself was holding its breath. Clara sat frozen, unsure what to feel: fear, hope, or heartbreak. All she knew was that the night was far from over, and whatever waited upstairs would change everything. The room was quiet except for the rain pattering softly against the window. Clara's mind raced, trying to grasp the meaning behind Ethan's words. "The people upstairs are part of it," he had said. Her heart beat faster. She could feel the tension, the weight of years compressed into one moment. She had come expecting answers about Ethan, but now it seemed she was about to enter a story, much bigger than she imagined. Ethan motioned for her to sit, and she did, keeping her eyes on the two older strangers. His mother's face was calm, gentle, and encouraging. His father's expression was more serious, a mix of wisdom and concern. Clara realized quickly that whatever Ethan was about to reveal involved the man, perhaps, had been waiting years for her to understand. Ethan began, speaking slowly, carefully, as though each word had to be measured. "Clara, after I left for New York, I wanted to protect everyone from the mistakes I made, and the truths I wasn't ready to face." He paused, looking at the ceiling for a moment, gathering courage. "The night I left Portland, there was an incident. Something I never told anyone." Clara's pulse quickened. "Incident?" She whispered. "Yes," he said. "It involved my parents. They were going through something difficult, health issues, stress, and my absence didn't help. I didn't realize the impact until it was almost too late." Clara blinked. She could feel her throat tighten. She had never known Ethan to carry guilt like this. It was raw, real, and heavy. His mother spoke softly. "Clara, we've kept this from you because we didn't want to hurt you or him. But he needed you to know. You've always been part of our lives, whether near or far." The words felt like a puzzle piece sliding into place. Clara leaned forward. "I don't understand. What does this have to do with me?" Ethan's father took a slow breath. "You were the person who kept him grounded, even when he didn't know it. We saw how he changed for you. And when things went wrong, it wasn't just his life, it affected us too." Clara's eyes widened. She felt the room tilt slightly, the weight of unspoken years pressing on her. She had thought this evening would be simple, a reunion, a chance to talk, maybe to forgive. But it was more complicated, deeper, and somehow more personal than she ever imagined. Ethan continued. "The night I left, there were two more people involved. People who depended on me and whom I failed without knowing. I didn't have the courage to face it then, and I ran. But now, I want to make it right." Clara swallowed hard. Her chest felt tight. "Make it right? How?" "You're here, Clara," he said, "because I need you to understand what happened, to see the truth. And then, maybe, you can decide if there's a way forward for all of us." The room fell silent again. She could hear the rain, the ticking clock, the faint hum of the city outside. It was surreal, like stepping into a memory she hadn't lived yet. His mother moved closer, her voice soft. "Clara, we never wanted to involve you in pain. But sometimes life tests us. It shows us things we need to see, people we need to understand, and choices we have to make." Clara felt a shiver. She had always known Ethan carried burdens. But she had never realized how far back they went, or how entwined her own presence had been in his family's life. Ethan's father spoke again. "The two people upstairs you didn't expect us have been waiting for the right moment. And that moment is now, because honesty can't wait forever." Clara tried to process it. "So, you're saying that everything I thought was private between us? It involved your family, too." "Yes," Ethan admitted. "And it also involved decisions I wasn't ready to make, decisions about love, trust, and responsibility. But tonight, I want you to see it all. I need you to see it all." Her mind raced. She thought of the 5 years of absence, of unanswered questions, of moments that could never be reclaimed. Yet, as she looked at Ethan, she saw vulnerability she had never noticed before, a mix of guilt, longing, and hope. It was overwhelming, but in a way that pulled her closer rather than pushed her away. "Clara," Ethan said softly, "there's one part of the story that I haven't told anyone, not even my parents, until recently. I was scared, ashamed, and unsure if it could be forgiven." He took a breath. "It's why I asked you to come tonight. Why I sat upstairs. Because this is where it all began, and where the truth has waited for you." Clara felt tears gather in her eyes. She didn't fully understand, yet she sensed the honesty, the weight of confessions years overdue. She wanted to run, to leave, to pretend she didn't hear. But she couldn't. Something told her that staying, listening, was exactly what she needed. Ethan's mother leaned closer. "We've watched him grow, Clara, seen him struggle, and we've always hoped that one day he'd find his way back to honesty with you, with us, with himself." Clara's heart pounded. She could feel the intensity of their gaze, of their presence. The room felt charged with a quiet, unspoken energy. She realized then that this wasn't just about Ethan. It was about all of them, about the connections, the mistakes, the misunderstandings that had rippled through years. Ethan spoke again, his voice almost a whisper. "Clara, I've hidden my fears, my failures, my regrets, but I can't hide them anymore. I want you to understand why I ran in, why I stayed away. I need you to know the truth so nothing between us is built on lies." Clara blinked rapidly, struggling to hold back the surge of emotion. She had expected a reunion, maybe an apology, perhaps a story about lost time. But this was raw, vulnerable, and profoundly real. "You've carried weight too," Ethan said, looking deeply into her eyes. "The weight of not knowing, of wondering why I left, of questioning what we had. And I realize now that I owe you everything, answers, honesty, and the chance to decide what comes next." Clara felt the pull of the past, the ache of longing, the echo of unspoken words. She realized that tonight wasn't just about Ethan's truth. It was about hers too, the choices she had made, the patience she had kept, and the trust she had offered without knowing if it would ever be returned. The rain intensified outside, drumming against the window with a steady rhythm. It seemed to match the pulse of her own heartbeat. Clara took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. She wanted to respond, to speak, to ask questions, but all she could do was sit. Listen and feel the weight of the moment. Ethan's father finally broke the silence. "Life doesn't often give second chances, Clara, but when it does, it asks for courage. Courage to face the truth, to forgive, to accept, and maybe to love again." Clara felt tears spill down her cheeks, not out of sadness alone, but from the intensity of the moment. From the realization that her story with Ethan and with his family was far from over. Ethan moved slightly closer, his voice low, intimate. "Clara, I've waited years for this moment. Not just to explain, but to make things right, if you'll let me. But I need you to know, once the truth is out, nothing between us can ever be the same." Her lips trembled as she whispered, "I'm ready to hear it." Ethan nodded, his eyes filled with relief and emotion. He took a deep breath. "The night I left Portland, the two people upstairs, they were my parents, and I failed to protect them and myself from mistakes that could have been avoided. I wasn't brave enough to face it, to face you, and to face what we had. Tonight, I want you to see everything so that nothing is hidden anymore." Clara felt the room tilt, the weight of years pressing on her. She realized that the story she thought she knew about Ethan, about her feelings, about the past, was only part of the picture. The rest, the part she had not seen, was about to be revealed. The older couple exchanged a glance, silent but full of meaning. Clara sensed that their presence was not just for support. It was to bear witness to the truth, to guide her through what she was about to understand. Ethan leaned back, looking at her with a mix of vulnerability and hope. "Clara, the truth is bigger than just one person. It involves everyone, and it's been waiting for this night to be told. Are you ready to see it?" Clara took a deep, steadying breath. "Yes," she said, "I'm ready." And in that moment, the rain outside seemed to pause, the room held its breath, and Clara realized that the night would change everything for Ethan, for her and for the family she never knew she had been a part of. The story, the truth, and the choices were finally coming to light. The night had deepened, the rain now a gentle murmur against the windows. Clara sat quietly, her thoughts swirling like the storm outside. Every word Ethan and his parents had spoken lingered in the air, heavy and undeniable. She felt the weight of years of misunderstandings, of silences, of choices made in fear. But beneath it all was something that had never left her. A quiet hope that there could still be understanding. A chance to rebuild what had been fractured. Ethan rose from the chair and stood by the window, rain glistening on the glass behind him. His eyes, filled with honesty and vulnerability, met hers. "Clara, I know this is overwhelming," he said softly, "but you need to hear everything. There's more, and it's time you understood all of it." Clara nodded, gripping the edge of the couch. Her mind raced, trying to process every word, every glance, every confession. The past was no longer a distant memory. It was alive in this room, in their voices, in the tension between them. Ethan began slowly, recounting the events that had led to this moment. "After I left Portland, I thought I was protecting everyone. I thought distance would make things easier. But it didn't. The truth is, I ran from responsibility. I avoided facing my mistakes, and in doing so, I hurt you, and I hurt my parents too." Clara felt a lump in her throat. She had known Ethan to be proud, sometimes stubborn, but never dishonest. His words carried the weight of real remorse. She realized then that this wasn't just about their relationship. It was about the trust, the connections, and the family that had been silently waiting for reconciliation. His mother spoke next, her voice calm but firm. "Clara, we've always respected you. We never wanted you caught in the middle of our struggles. But your presence tonight is a bridge one we hope can heal old wounds. Ethan's mistakes are human. His regrets are real. And you being here can help bring closure." Clara swallowed hard, emotions tightening her chest. She had imagined confrontations before, but this was different. There was no anger, no blame, only honesty, vulnerability, and an invitation to choose forgiveness, choose understanding, choose connection. Ethan's father leaned forward, his hands clasped together. "Life isn't perfect. Decisions we make, even with the best intentions, can have unintended consequences. Tonight isn't about punishment. It's about truth, clarity, and the chance to rebuild what was lost." Clara's eyes darted between Ethan and his parents. She saw the reflection of years of care, concern, and unspoken love in their faces. The room seemed charged with an energy she hadn't felt in a long time, a mixture of anticipation, fear, and hope. Ethan moved closer to her, his voice low, earnest. "Clara, I made mistakes. I left when I should have stayed. I avoided truth when honesty was needed. But I'm here now, willing to face everything. I need you to know that nothing I say tonight is meant to hurt you. It's meant to show you how much I care, how much I've grown, and how much I hope we can move forward together or separately, but with clarity." Clara took a deep breath. She had spent years wondering about his absence, feeling the echo of his choices in her own life. Now, hearing him speak so openly, she felt a mix of relief and sorrow. Relief because the truth was finally out. Sorrow because of the years that had passed. The moments that could never be recovered. She finally spoke, her voice steady despite the storm inside. "Ethan, I understand more now. I see the burden you've carried, the guilt, the fear, and I see how much you've grown. But I also see the years we've lost. I need to know. Are you asking me to forgive you? Or are you asking me to come back into your life fully?" Ethan's gaze softened. "Both, if you're willing. I'm asking for honesty first. Forgiveness comes after understanding. And yes, I hope for a future together, but only if you choose that path freely. I won't ask for more than what you're ready to give." Clara felt a tear slide down her cheek. She realized that love, true love, was never about rushing, but about understanding, patience, and courage. She could feel the sincerity in Ethan's words, the weight of his honesty, and the quiet hope that had brought them together tonight. His mother smiled gently. "Clara, the choice is yours. No pressure, no expectation. Just truth and the possibility of healing." Clara took a deep breath and let herself feel the years of longing, the ache of separation, and the quiet strength that had carried her through. She looked at Ethan and saw a man transformed, not perfect, but real, vulnerable, and deserving of trust. I forgive you, Ethan, she whispered. And I want to try again. But we have to take it slowly, carefully. We can't erase the past, but maybe we can build something stronger from it. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. He stepped closer and took her hands in his. Thank you, Clara. That means everything. I promise to be honest, to be present, and to rebuild trust, piece by piece. His parents exchanged relieved smiles, their presence no longer a shadow but a witness to reconciliation. The tension in the room eased, replaced by a fragile but genuine hope. Clara felt a warmth she hadn't felt in years. The storm outside seemed to soften, the rain now a gentle drizzle. She realized that tonight had been about more than answers. It had been about courage, forgiveness, and the willingness to face the truth. No matter how difficult, Ethan spoke again, his voice full of emotion. Clara, I know this journey won't be easy. We'll have challenges, uncertainties, and moments of doubt. But I also know that if we face them together, honestly and patiently, we can create something real, lasting, and beautiful. Clara nodded, feeling the weight of the past lift slightly. She could sense the potential for healing, the chance to build a life informed by truth, not fear or secrecy. She realized that love, when paired with honesty and courage, could overcome years of distance and misunderstanding. As the night wore on, they talked about the past, about mistakes, about hopes for the future. Every word, every shared memory brought them closer. They laughed softly, they cried together, and slowly the walls built by fear and absence began to crumble. Ethan's parents stayed nearby, offering quiet support but giving them the space to reconnect. Clara felt a sense of belonging she hadn't known she'd missed. It wasn't just about romantic love. It was about family, trust, and shared understanding by the time the first light of dawn touched the city skyline. Clara and Ethan had navigated the delicate path from confusion and pain to honesty and hope. The rain had stopped, leaving the air crisp and renewed. The room felt lighter, filled with possibility. Clara looked at Ethan, her heart full of cautious optimism. We'll take it one day at a time, she said softly. He nodded, squeezing her hands gently. One day at a time, and every day I'll choose honesty, love, and you. In that quiet moment, surrounded by the presence of his parents and the echoes of years past, Clara felt a sense of peace. The night had revealed truths that were long hidden, and with them, the opportunity to rebuild, to reconnect, and to move forward together. It wasn't perfect. It never would be. But it was real, and for Clara and Ethan, that was enough. The storm had passed, leaving clarity, understanding, and the fragile yet enduring promise of a new beginning as they stood by the window. Watching the city awaken to a fresh day, Clara realized that sometimes life's greatest moments come from honesty, courage, and the willingness to face what we've avoided. She had witnessed the power of truth, the strength of forgiveness, and the beauty of second chances. Ethan leaned close, his voice a whisper. Thank you for staying, for listening, and for trusting me. Clara smiled softly, feeling the warmth of connection and the quiet joy of reconciliation. Thank you for being honest. That's all I ever needed. And in that soft, early morning light, they stepped forward together, ready to navigate the future, not without challenges, but with hearts open, truth as their guide, and the knowledge that love, when nurtured with honesty and courage, could withstand anything. The night of confessions had ended. The story of past mistakes, unspoken fears, and hidden truths had found its resolution. And from that resolution, a new chapter began, a chapter filled with hope, understanding, and the promise of what could be when hearts are brave enough to face reality together.